Everybody heard a joke about a priest, a rabbi, and a minister walking into a bar. But have you heard the one about a high priest, a bush doctor, and a minister of propaganda meeting up at a coffee shop to talk to a high scientist? What a thing to tell the king. WEED Propaganda Radio presents BTS, the Bush Tea Sessions.
When I set a melody in the evening, it's the same way.
Lord, you're not focused. We only seeing a piece of the half for you, and I tell you, you're not that plush.
That's how the brother is, man. The brother
have one right. Everybody see the fullness.
All right, let me get
just
crosstalk. A lot of crosstalk.
Maxing and relaxing in his yard. I love it. Carpet wall to wall, drinking his big juice. Yes.
Man, we leaning over here.
I'm not vexed. Look, Danger with his big cup. But
yeah, man.
I have a greedy cup too.
You make cup?
Well, I don't say no. I just have chai in it. I just drinking chai.
This is ginger.
Chai with ginger water.
Ginger mint tea. With a little bit of yeah, with a little bit of marijuana.
Chai with ginger in it.
Yeah, mine's is ginger mint with a little bit of marijuana root and marijuana.
Please do not get caught up in the hypocrisy Dangers reporting from an undisclosed area in California. Do not get in trouble. Follow Danger's example.
Man, you know what? Let me get me set all together, man. I gotta hang some trees, you know. You know the thing.
Getting it set together, knit. I see the sewing machines, but back to the introductions, back to your backgrounds, back to your skill set, back to what brings you to the table. Let's find out about knit rock.
I'm a master seamstress. I've been doing it for about 25 years now. I own my own business. I mind my own business to make you my business. I will take care of your business. Simple. Just a Nubian woman who knows who she is, so she didn't go through no she had always been. I'm here via my good brother Dayson. We always sparring verbally. And he's a very intellectual brother, but he have a lot of at times like a push a button or two. But he's a really good brother, very intellectual, very caring. So I think we've been friends how long nowadays, son? A good 15, maybe 17, 18 years. And so with that, he like the lioness in me. I like the lion in him.
Yes, I.
All right. Speaking of the master,
probably don't forget you. Then 10.
But it probably needs no introduction to my life, but to familiarize the room, the greatest pen, the greatest mind, goes back. The source of the source. Run your credentials, black man. We're talking about Dayson Allah DX21.
Yo, we go all the way back to Born Power 1995, starting out with Stress Magazine, Around the Way Connections, Rap Sheet, and bringing it up. In the travels, we went through the Village Voice, we went through the Source Magazine, we went through Baruch College, we went through so many different ciphers, wound up at Hot 97, Power 105 with the legendary Empire of Hate with Storm Buck Wild, and I wound up reaching the top of that mountain of the Source, becoming an editor-in-chief. Also launched Rhymes and Dimes magazine. So there's been a lot of things popping and cracking and percolating, and basically we're now bringing it to the code breaking, the code making, the code casting, the code blasting, the code switching, and the code shifting. And I'm also writing right now for Honeysuckle magazine. Write everything and cast the spell for all you near to well.
Real humble.
Oh wait, don't forget.
Put it out there. If you don't blast your own horn, nobody else will, except the angels.
Don't forget, one of the top poets in Master Abadoon's poetry circle.
Oh, yeah,
I'll be doing all you Wally. Big up, I'll be doing all you Wally.
Why you ain't the 4 elements?
And of course, we started in 2003 with the elements: Nit Rasit, Ashaki Mayat, Rainmaker. There was another one who shall not be named, but we'll name him. Black August out with us. And then, of course, the illustrious Nit Rasit. That's how we started out.
Man, have to grow up, man. You can't be like that.
Yeah, but I can tell you this
Anyway.
here. Black August came to me, and me and him made peace, and he basically, explained his side of it, and he realized that things could have gone differently. So I respect that. There's certain people out there who
Can't make peace with ignorance, but I hear you, Father. I hear you. At least you're trying to come to some accord.
Yeah, but Ned, you know that within the vibrations of the nation of gods and earths of 5%, peace is the absence of confusion. So there's just no confusion right there. We know what it is, and he knows what it is.
Absolutely. I would agree 100%. I never deviate from the unify no matter what.
Yes, unify or die, purify or die. I and I.
Well, now we come to myself. Well, actually, we should come to.
Yes, get in the camera. Please get in the camera. You don't know.
I have no idea what is. Everybody's seeing. Because what I'm seeing is I'm in my yoga pose. I mean, on my ottoman. Which.
My water should be boiling. Let me
Ottoman.
Well, okay.
Light.
I guess we'll start with Chloe,
just a little light.
Sensation, who is not here right now, but she's an actress. She's a very humble soul, a kind being, and definitely a helpful friend to the room. But with no further introduction, there is myself, whom I guess would really need no introduction to my cast, but I will explain my role on Codename Codebreakers. I am Lord Omni Allah. I am the voice above. I am the researcher. I am the producer. I am the voice with reason. And on this show, Danger, I will be in the form of my most high self. So a lot of the responses out of me and a lot of the comments out of me would be different from my chicken self on this show. So. Danger's familiar with the chicken and the egg scenario.
It's really an honor to be on this panel with all these brethren. I remain grateful.
I have to give Aya a hand, man. I have to give Aya a hand. Like everybody, introduction, songs so great. I'm so proud to know that I'm not dealing with Chicken George today. Chicken George, he is quite blurred. The effects of eating the chicken has caused some blurred lines where the things move. But we're not going to get into Chicken George today. We're going to deal with the high scientist, the person who resonates on a higher frequency,
a higher vibration.
Other than when he is eating chicken and indulging in certain smoking rituals, which causes him to use his energy towards blessing certain things, but we're not going to get into that. And I like the Ankh, man. What up?
Well, check this out. You see, when you said chicken, in this book here, it says that they domesticated albino animals for us to eat, to mess with the melanin. So Chicken George, it's even in tune with Chicken George, because I recently had an issue and I asked my friend, man, what a thing when you have a situation and you have to look at your partner and wonder if they're going to be Nat Turner or Chicken George in a situation. And here you're going and call Chicken George again. And the book I'm reading talking about chicken, amongst other animals that they domesticate for us to eat, are albino. When you cut off everything, they're albino, and the albinoism eat off the melanin. So they're giving us the chicken to break down who we are.
And see, I
Powerful.
Like the people who don't take the time out to go read certain books and enlighten themselves. Because for me, I like to lean on the Bible first and then spread out. For my origination into this art, my parents presented me with a Bible. So I use the Bible as a reference point to a lot of things as far as living lessons. And franchise could tell you, I had to keep, like, I have two of them right here in front of me. I keep two Bibles with me. Like, the old crusty one from back in the past that they take out too much stuff out of. And one nice
McAfee version.
You check?
It's the McAfee version. The old crusty one is the McAfee version.
It's a
or you're dealing with King James.
That's an original King James, but it's weird when we say King James because
I have a stack of Bibles. Wait a second. Stack of Bibles.
You see. All right then. You see the brother get Bible about and I try to tell franchise. I haven't seen.
I also have Quran.
Okay then. I see what the Quran.
I also have Kibernegist. I have all of them.
Okay.
A lot of us were brought up in that foundation. We also have to realize that if we are code breaking and we are code switching, then we have to know the code of the society. And this here in the wilderness of North America, Sodom, Babylon, however you want to call it, the code operative program is the Holy Bible. So in order for you to be able to be amongst Rome, you have to know the codes of this particular matrix, and that is based in the Bible. You got to know it in order to know the fabric of the society in this matrix.
True.
DX, since you take the helm, this is a perfect time for you to
everybody going by.
What code breaking is, what the show is about, and what the listeners can expect going forward.
First of all, code breaking, everything has a code. You have a code. It's called DNA, deroxyribonucleic acid. The tree has a code. Everything is codes and formulas. When they are creating these matrix of reality and virtual realities and their ones and zeros, they call it writing code. They're creating worlds with codes. Everything has a blueprint. Everything has a code. What we're doing is we're looking at it through a higher perspective, through the hawk eye view, through the Corbo eye view. And even that whole situation, a John Crow, if you talk about a John Crow in the Caribbean, a lot of people think that has a negative connotation, but that shows you how the code was switched. Because if you go and look into Ifa, into Yoruba, you would know that the vulture is actually the messenger of the Most High. So therefore, they have us in these situations where we're code switching and then being encoded with something that is contrary to our true nature. Earlier today, you called Donald Trump Cobra. And that itself, it shows you how
Correction.
Commander.
Still, you elicited and brought in the Cobra. And that shows you how Western civilization has programmed us from young with their codes. When I was young, I watched G.I. Joe, which showed evil as Cobra, and then the heroes were the G.I. Joes, the Americans. But if you study Eastern philosophy, then you will see that when Buddha received enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, who provided him shelter? The Cobra. When you look at the symbol of Lower Kemet, who was the symbol of Lower Kemet? The Cobra. Yes. So therefore, what they have us doing subliminally from children is having us hate our own culture through cartoons. So this is the type of things that we have.
Absolutely.
Subliminal programming. They have us hating cobras. So therefore, this is the type of thing.
Anti-hero syndrome.
Yes. This is the type of things we're going to be doing on Codename Code Breakers. We're going to break down how society encodes you and decode it, and then code shift and make new codes. So
can I give you an example of a code shift?
Go ahead.
Okay, like how DX said, like how with codes and subliminal images and stuff like that, they train us to hate our own, right? But if you was already vibrating at a frequency at an age when you was being fed this so-called nonsense, people, and I know Danger would agree, that we all watch G.I. Joe, yes, but us VA
Cobra.
Us VA man, we wasn't rooting for G.I. Joe. We were rooting for Cobra.
Yes,
Cobra was the coolest characters. Join Cobra and get some. We want
We want to be with Zanzibar. We want to be with Lady Dexter. We want to be with
Destro. Destro in effect.
Absolutely.
Destroy.
We always fought with the underdog. We always root for the underdog, no matter what they showed us. Whoever they showed us was bad, we always found good in them and said, wait, somewhere, somehow we identified. So we was understanding clearly that they was trying to downplay the melanin. They was trying to downplay or other us or make us other than the norm.
But Nick, this is the whole thing. All of that, the words devil, all of that type of situation is codes again. So therefore, if they take it on face value, then they're not going to get the price of admission. They're not going to be able to see the whole thing. And if they ran away that fast, then we don't need them, because basically the chosen few.
I get what you're saying, and I appreciate it. But even if they say 666, go on, no danger. Yeah.
Okay, I am, because I realize the level of intelligence and spirituality in all the people, and I am going to be I'm going to use cliche words. I am going to be the difference. I'm going to use the word of devil's advocate. I'll be the devil's advocate, right?
I like it.
Because when we say about devil and we say about, so is it safe to say, right, because the word nigger means ignorant, that a lot of people who are being called nigger shouldn't be upset? Because just like we say, if the cobra is ours and we was taught to hate ours, that means we didn't take the time to even look into anything. We took what they gave us as face value. We took a cartoon as factual. We took a cartoon as real life. We took a cartoon where they taught us as kids. You put 5 drawings, 10 drawings together, and you flip it fast enough, because if you flip it slow, you don't see the movement. This is what we was taught. The kids of today don't realize how cartoons work. But we had the simplified version, yet still we ran with the simple ideologies and thoughts that was projected to us. Like for me, like when you say cobra and all them things, like you say, we identify with the bad guy. But for me, it was more identifying with what was said, not what was portrayed. Because when we talk about G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe also said, knowing is half the battle. So yes, they give you a visual to kind of confuse you, but they also told you like that. And that's the thing with breaking codes. Like some people get so in tune with fighting against what's presented to them, they realize that it's a circle. It's not a straight line. It's a circle. That's why the ones and zeros that was spoken about, it's a 1 and there's a 0. What are you going to be? Are you going to be on or are you going to be off?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Preach.
Absolutely.
Tend to be.
Absolutely.
A lot of us tend to think we're on, but it's because we're fighting so hard to go the opposite way that we're not maintaining a balance to realize they told us knowing is half the battle. That's what I got from G.I. Joe. You know what I'm saying?
I got that as well. But I was just putting out that particular vibration.
They don't lie. They manipulate the truth, but they do not lie. You know that. You know that from the teachings of the 5%. That's how we know them, because they use technology. They use the truth because they teaching the children with symbolism. And going back to what Brother Danger was saying, that's why the television, we refuse to have the television in the house, because it's the modern Pied Piper and the music, and while you're sitting there being entertained and you're breathing slow and you're on your theta or your delta breathing, they're sending you messages, because we understand in 3 levels. visually, in your head, because you over here thinking you're being entertained while you're being programmed. So I appreciate that.
All right, Nit, this brings us into our test topic that I wanted to present for Danger. No spoilers. Game of Thrones, the King of the North, and the demon Zimmermere. Can we speak on it?
We can speak on it, but I don't know much about this demon.
You can speak on it. I have nothing to say because I don't have a television. I wouldn't be able to speak on it to make sense.
Yes. So I'm going to ask you to look up the demon Zimmermere. You're gonna give us that knowledge, and from what we know of the Game of Thrones, we're gonna break down the code of how they're using this King of the North to get all of these viewers to summon these demons unwillingly and wreak havoc on the world. Danger?
Let me be the devil's advocate again, because I'm loving the fact that you brought up Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones is what I was thinking about when the sister was speaking. Why? Because Game of Thrones is a whole story of codes. I have been speaking to people about why they've been watching it, and they are not picking up on the codes of what's presented to you from face value, and then the decisions that's being made off of what you think you know and what you think is right and who you think is your family and who you think is your lineage. And then when it comes down to it and you find out, hey, I just killed the person who's really my dad. It's almost like Star Wars and Luke Skywalker, you know?
More symbolism.
But see, the thing about the symbolism is a lot of people hate Darth Vader in the beginning, right? And they love Luke, right? And in Game of Thrones is the same thing, where there is honorable people who take the strain on their back, where they keep the truth. They don't lie, but they keep the truth because the people that are around them is coded so wrongly that certain people have to keep the truth, because in exposing the truth, it causes a level of chaos, because the lie that it has became created a momentum. So when it comes to like things like code breaking, I attest to people who do code break that when you break the code, and I tell this to franchise all the time, make sure that you could articulate what you're saying to a child. Imagine each person is a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, because that's where they stopped intaking. They just ran with everything after that. Mom said, read the Bible. So they read the Bible.
Yeah, well, that's basically how the 5%ers get down. We always talk about breaking it down so that the baby can understand it, and that's the best way to teach. You teach best what you most need to learn, and then teaching it in so a simple form, even a complex idea, that shows a mastery of the material. So, yes, I agree with you 100%.
And I tell franchise this all the time, because we get enlightened. We gain knowledge, we gain intelligence, we gain history. Not even history, we gain the factual parts of our DNA, because history is just his story. Because I could tell you a story, you could tell me a story. I might be born on an island, you might have been there as a tourist, but you was on the cruise ship dock when the robbery was going down. I just live on the island all my life. We talk, you're going to say, oh, man, you're going to tell me, oh, I heard blah, 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 not articulating that, guess what, I was there. So the person who's born on the island, they're going to run with the story that they heard, that seems more like they're more knowledgeable because they're from there. They live there all their life, not thinking, hey, this person lived it. Yeah, they were only on the island for 3 hours, but one of those hours they spent with witnessing a robbery. Now, they could tell you something, and you're going to take it as controversial. Like, nah, man, that didn't happen. And it's weird because in learning things, we need to learn that, hey, you know what? Somebody might know something else. Also, hey, let's talk about it like kids. Kids go on the playground, and you hear the kids say, well, my mom told me. And my dad told me, and my teacher told me, and then it kind of validates it to the other kid, because the other kid's gonna say, well, I think, and because it's two kids speaking, it's like, well, you don't know more than my mom, you know?
Right.
So when we conversate too, we gotta conversate in terms of, hey, we're just kids out here. We're just kids sharing information that's gonna, and it leaves a mark. Because like there's a few things that both the code breakers already said that I said, you know what? I like how they termed it, because now if I say this to my kid, she's gonna say ding, where it's a correlation between the world that we live in and the image that they're portraying, but the reality of it. You know, because I look at Superman. That's the dude I look at. I looked at Superman and I said, oh, that's the Jesus dude they were talking about.
Code break.
Yeah.
And I look at his name, his original.
Those materials, a lot of those superheroes are based on our mythology, basically.
Because think about who gets power from the sun. Who gets power? That's where Superman power comes from, right? The sun, right? The sun god, right?
Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it.
What's the name of their god in Superman? I am Lao, but their god is Rao, R-O-A.
All of them have L in their name.
Yep.
L.
Yep.
All of their names. Matter of fact, they're the House of L. That's what they call themselves. The demonology expert.
Go on to that. I'll finish something real quick before we go on to that. This here, y'all, this whole documentary on the origins of superheroes, that's something that y'all might want to look into.
Speak the title, Black man. You got to speak the titles for the listening audience.
Unmask Modern Superheroes and Their African Origins. That's
where can they find that?
I guess you can go into cyberspace. I got it actually from the person who actually did it. So I'm sure it's in cyberspace. You just Google, which is sometimes your friend, sometimes your enemy. Unmasked Modern Superheroes and Their African Origins.
Pete Game TX is showing off his unlimited connections. But Nit, has you been able to find any documentation on the Demon Mare?
Because franchise, I was going to tell you, right? I'm a Game of Thrones fan, but I would really, for the listening audience, franchise, you explain this demon, because personally, like I said, it's from your perspective of your view.
Okay, I'm gonna use
Game of Thrones. I'm on
look up and find out who this demon is, but I don't even freaking know how to spell the name. That's what you have to remember. Spells.
I-N-I-A-R.
Started from the beginning. Remember, spells are spells. You casting a spell when you spell, you're spelling words. What do you say?
Z-I-M. I-N-I-A-R.
Z-I-M-A-M as in master? I-A-O?
Z-I-M-I as in island, N, another I, an A, and an R. There's 3 I's in his name.
So he has 3 eyes, the third eye, eh?
All right, so you see where we're going with this. Hope no Ouija boards are around.
Oh, saying with the third eye, that's where, when she spoke about the Falcon, it gave me a reference to Game of Thrones, because the one kid who was supposed to die in the beginning of the show, who ended up paralyzed, what did he say in the last season? He said, look, speaking to the person that paralyzed them, if you never pushed me, I would not be the 3-eyed raven now. So in him becoming paralyzed as a kid, it gave him the ability to open his third eye, where he sees everything. That's why
the future, present, all at the same time.
People are scared. What he don't live.
All the fight, all the hate, all the lies to me and to somebody may love.
You see?
Touch me another time and I say another rhyme.
That's why I don't watch Game of Thrones.
You gonna not see no blood.
I don't watch Game of Thrones for the positive codes that they point in that people need to grasp, but people is going to gravitate towards the sex and the rape and the murders, because that's what most people see when they see Game of Thrones. They see times, but they don't see the 3-eyed raven who only sees the past and the future. He don't see the present. Dude is there sitting with his eyes rolled up in his head. And everybody's like, oh, you don't hate that person? He's like, I don't feel anymore. Like, so I don't hate. He told the dude who crippled him, thank you. How powerful is that?
Here's my thing, right? My thing is not the on-site stuff. My thing is the subliminal stuff.
So what,
right?
we're supposed to be
And
thinking
we all know from Word Speak Power that when you say I am, or I am that I am, when you start chanting these things and you become these things, we're going to get into Zinamere right now, right? In demonology, Ziminaire or Ziminar is one of the 4 principal kings that have the power on 72 demons supposedly constrained by King Solomon, according to the Lesser Keys of Solomon, and is not to be considered.
Can we take a pause for the cause to let everybody know that the author of demonology is who?
The author of demonology
is who?
I wasn't talking about the book Demonology.
I'm talking about the book. Who wrote the book Demonology?
Well, since you know, Dayson, who wrote it?
The same person who wrote the Bible, King James.
King James. Well, okay. Well, according to this.
Then he wrote it before the authorized version of the Bible. It's demonology first.
So, according to this,
remember the thought, King Solomon, because I like.
Bush, they work on both sides.
He's also known as the King of the North.
They give you both sides of the argument for you to argue like a jackass.
So now that we know who Ziminaire is and that he's the King of the North, when everybody's watching this show now saying that following Jon Snow and following the King of the North, they're subconsciously summoning
the franchise, not to go off of what you were saying, but what the brother say makes a lot of sense. You know why? King James organized that version of the Bible. Now, my question is, and I'm being the devil's advocate here, this is my role today.
Yes, I.
Which book preaches the more true story? Is it the Book of the Demons or the King James version of the Bible?
If you look at the book of
I want to say I'm going to have to get a copy of the book because I have not read Demonology yet. So I went to it. But I would think that the truth that in Demonology, they have no constraints.
Demonology is a dictionary. It's a list of demons, their skills, their traits, sometimes their likenesses, what they're in charge of, how much legions they have, what their rank is on the demon hierarchy and stuff like that. So it's a reference manual.
It's not just that.
So we know
dissertation.
We always that there's 156 versions of the Bible, right?
Yeah, that was just one aspect of it.
156 version. Choose one.
Yeah, I just want to talk to address what franchise said.
Just like the brother said, 6 million ways to die. Choose one.
Well, the classification of demons is only one of the aspects of the demonology. It also talks about the relationships between the various methods of divination, ancient black magic, which we know is basically nothing that they have created. That's why they called it black magic. They just prayed to where they got it from. It also talks about necromancy and a whole bunch of different things. It's a philosophical dissertation that goes on.
Everything to follow and boggle and confound your mind so you wouldn't think about melanin and shooting yourself off of this damn planet. Everything to confound you. Now you check, the man wrote the Bible, so the Holy Rollers got a book, and then he wrote this book, so all the atheists got something to roll with.
Well, I always say my things.
Ends of the argument covered. That is this dude. That is this dude to a T. Mr. Confusion, Mr. Trick Knowledge.
Check this out.
Here comes the con man coming with his con plan.
This book, Demonology, was written in 1597. The King James was started He started it 6 years later in 1604, and it was published in 1611. So therefore, it was published.
666.
It was published in 1611. It was the King James Version of the Bible. So this is like 14 years later. So he wrote Demonology, or 6 years before.
Later, he did it, and
was published.
He wrote it up in 1604, right?
Make sure my math is right.
Make sure your math is right, black man. You're not
you always check your math. You always check it. It comes out to 13, which is a 4. So it was about culture, and culture is not just a way of life, and a culture is also a process, because if you culture something, you're cultivating it. You know, so they say that we have this culture going on with the bacteria. Culturing is developing something. So
the Most High is so powerful that he who seeks shall find.
Rastafari give we everything.
True.
Yeah.
True. No matter what stages, no matter what rate,
no matter
they put us through.
Even if we was to envision what it is as wide as it is broad. You see what I'm saying? Where is what you're seeking is what you're gonna find. And if you looking, if you're not gonna see through their own words, as much as they try to hide it, they expose people to the truth by even omitting certain things, because now it don't make sense. You see, that's why the numbers could add up. That's why it's all going to be part of the one, which back to the ones and the zeros is always going to be. That's why Rasta say I and I is one and one, you know. That's why Rasta say ones and ones, because it's when ones and ones congregate right now. It as far as Rastafari, which the modern day Rastafari, not the inbound concept of Rastafari.
The same token, the zero is important because the zeros are 360 degrees. Everything is everything.
Exactly.
That's the
same.
Now when the ones join, that's when you get the zero, because that's when it comes full circle.
Just going to tell you, brother, that because now everything is the nothing, you know. And the nothing is the everything, you know. It's 2 in 1 and 1 in.
Name it. Give it a name. I really appreciate that. I really not appreciate love. But that was awesome. Code breakers in the house.
Like for me to remember these concepts, my name is, because if you read, my name is Danger. So Danger. So I either just say Danger D. Now it depends on what day you might get. Franchise could tell you, like we from an island, so DANGER Danger. But the most I certain way is the same person in one. You're the flesh side. A lot of times people are dealing with the flesh, and that's the problem. So you have to know that everything is a balance, everything is a good and bad, but you have to know where your eye focus on. You know, you could be presented with a bowl full of shit, and if you fall enough to find the good in a bowl of shit, you might go check the science to see, hey, what is the components in this shit? And let me see if you have a vitamin or a mineral.
Remember you said teaching it simple to a kid. Shit, fertilizer, in the story.
Nope.
Oh gosh, what is that?
Absolutely. Go ahead. Awesome. Boy, where the sound effects, man, when they hit Lord, when they hit it on the head, you hear something off.
Show.
Got me here cheering like I see that. I am not upset with you guys. Go up in the universe and do that.
But yeah, man, but like how we were saying, it all depends on your vibration, because like if let's say there was never a King James Bible and all we had was the demonology to walk with, right? My manifestations from high science alone tell me that Man is to have dominion over demons, and demons do not like the fact that man has dominion over them. So those that are not strong enough, or those that are weak-minded, those are the ones that will fall victim to the corruption and the misinterpretations and all the folly that comes with demons and not summoning them. That's why unless you are one with yourself, one with the mind and one with the universe, like the great King Solomon, thou shalt not try to summon demons under thy control unless you're fully capable. And
right. Yeah, let's do a little code breaking right now. David's son. Who's David's son?
Well, you're sounding like you're coming off the line of the throne, the lines of the highly eyes, and you know what I mean.
David's son is David's son, and who is David's son?
And we ain't talking about highly neither. Code break.
Solomon. So you're talking about it. Just that Jewel interjecting. Carry on, Lord, carry on.
Hey, I thought him out again a little bit of danger there, because franchise, you know. And see, the thing is okay, I go interject with this, right? Now, that's David's son, right? David's son. Now, by any chance, is your biological father named David or Solomon?
I birthed myself, so my name by birth was David. My father was Richard, the Lionheart.
Okay. Now, next question, right? So that means you didn't name yourself. The Most High named the
How you say?
What I'm saying is,
from Apple, this Mac is blocked. Do not close this.
Does your name yours from
your Mac registration key is blocked.
You was
contact tape.
Brought into this earth, or did somebody name you and you run with it?
I was named David, beloved. Beloved. When I came into knowledge of self, I took on the name Day-Son because I was reborn, and it was me who brought myself forward. I came to America by myself. I had to swim my own 9,000 miles. And nobody was telling me anything. Everybody who told me that this is how you get higher enlightenment, when I went and told them I got higher enlightenment, they told me, no, you didn't get it. See how it is? They tell you, if you walk down 125th Street and jump 3 times, you'll ascend to heaven. So I walked down 125th Street, jumped 3 times, ascended to heaven, came back and told them they worked, and they were like, you're bullshitting us. See how they change it up?
And I respect that journey, and I respect that speech there, because
in your fucking crazy ass Virgin Islanders, a Rastaman told me in order to be reborn, I had to go backwards into the sea and come backwards back onto the land. So I did it. In the middle of the night in Cane Bay on the north coast of St. Croix.
Look, I say Rastafari, right? Because I went and do my research, and my whole thing is I used to argue with Rasta. I used to argue with them every day.
Good. I mean, what did Jesus do at 12 years old in the temple?
And I tell you, I used to go every day down on the block where I know I can't smoke. My mother gonna kill me. My mother don't even want me down on the block. She said, yo, if I catch you down on that block, right, I'm gonna beat the daylights out of you, you know.
And you still do?
Yeah, man, because these man down there, some of them knocking their teeth out, their mouth talking this and these brothers were into some stuff that I couldn't really understand.
I remember when I was in Jamaica and I was in the middle of a reasoning, and these dudes are having a heated argument over which apostle I remind them over. And I'm like, well, this is some next level conversations. They're arguing over which apostle I remind them over.
You see? And that's why you see I say oneness, because anything for me, I love to indulge in all the different sciences and forms of knowledges, but
yes, sir.
If you go up in some bush right now, right, there is only certain things going to be necessary, and there is only certain things you're going to think about. There is only certain things you're going to deal with. So
brother, tell me about some of these things that I would need in the bush. The bush.
When you're in the bush, you don't need a code for that. You need oxygen to breathe.
Well, I mean, the trees all over, the bushes there. So you got oxygen up in it.
That's the code that I just deal with sometimes, you know. It's the most simplest, right? Where if you was a little youth, like the other day, right? A little youth was lost here in California. No, it's not California, I lie. It's like somewhere in one of them weird states where it's just bushes in the backyard. The youth went through the back door and they find the youth 3 days later alive, right? So obviously, something inside that youth who was about 3 years old tell that youth, hey, I need to this, I need to drink this.
Yeah, but from what I heard, there was some old Mowgli shit that happened, and he was actually like, he said it was like a bear or a wolf that was like protecting him or something like that.
See, when you're at that age, right, and you're more connected with the universe than you are connected with society and man.
And anybody who's doing the knowledge of this show, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe shit because there's a lot in the middle of believing. I remember that there was something about an animal that was protecting him. So I'm gonna have to go back and do my research on that, but I do recall that. Because I remember saying some Jungle Book shit.
Franchise they'll be saying, you know how that youth, they're so young, right? And the youth more in tune, the youth ain't influenced with a lot of the junk that we do pile on.
Self-weight.
Yes, I.
Because, like, you see how the Rastaman tell you about the going into the sea?
Backwards.
Yeah. A lot of them Rastaman, they heard it from another person, but they didn't realize they didn't have the code to decipher that it's not that you literally walk backwards in the sea. It's the idea that the sea is of alkaline levities. So before you could tread forward, you have to tread backwards and cleanse the eye self using the salt that will naturally scrub the eye skin and whatnot. And take your 2 steps backwards first, like a youth. If you notice, a little child, the first thing they do is they learn to crawl backwards first before they start to crawl forward. And it's just for us to connect with our infantile self.
I can tell you this much. I walked into the sea backwards, came back backwards, literally, and then after that I astro traveled.
Yo,
check this out. I astro traveled so far that they had to take me to the bus to the loony bin afterwards.
Look,
that far.
Well, watch out.
St. Croix got loony bin?
What?
St. Croix got loony bin?
Yeah, man. I mean,
I still got my hospital gown. What you talking? Let me get it for you.
What you think? It was just St. Thomas?
What a thing to tell the king. I thought the man just send everybody out in the Grove or wherever, Golden Grove.
Nah, Grove is the jail.
That's why I say I thought the man just send everybody Golden Grove. You know, never had.
Grove is jail.
This here's the gown from when I was taken there. See? This is
man. That's a madman. That's a madman.
Everybody that's tuning in on the Patreon, you can subscribe to see DX's Patriot gown from a St. Croix Medical Asylum that I didn't know existed.
No, it's a psychiatric ward in I forgot. Let me get the name of the hospital. I'm gonna draw it up.
Man, come on, franchise. I was telling you could give it a better description. That is see, you ain't from the U.S. Virgin Islands. I am. That is the madman dress.
Madman dress. Yes.
I grew up next to Roy Lester Snyder Hospital, right? The 5th floor is the psych floor.
All right. I was at the Juan F. Louis Hospital and Medical Center.
Yeah, man. That's the main hospital in St. Croix.
That's where they took me.
Yeah, real thing.
Wait, did you tell these people at 1F wherever that a Rastaman make you walk backwards in cane, man, come back out? Because I could see why that man would shoot you up.
And my cousin was there. He, for one, my cousin baby mother worked at a hospital. So I was already good.
Angel, have you ever, what's the thing to tell a king? Have you ever heard?
No, the thing is it is not that if I heard it, I am totally like big ups to the brother. You know why? the people that took him to the hospital, and see, that's why certain things you can't really do by yourself, because the brother was seeking, and he fine. You see it?
Yeah, but I lost my clothes in the process. I was actually out there in my birthday suit. That's why I got the robe.
You say, but the people who directed the eye, they were supposed to supervise the eye, because I lose a lot of friends who lose they totally lose it because they indulge in certain things wrong them Rasta at a young age, and they never recovered. Like,
but that shows you. I've been there many times and come back. And what was funny about it was that another Rastaman was watching me when I was going through the astral travel. So even when I was alone, I was never alone.
Yeah, you're gonna be all right, because the experience is something that you go gain from. But I'll show you a vibe, you know. I have a brother, right? He is totally okay when he's in America, but when he go back to the island for
yes, my mother. Yo, every time I get to the islands, I feel it. It's like the unchained spirit come, and my mom don't even like me to go down to the islands. It's every time the energy change. It's like I'm here. I'm like, okay, yes, everything's cool. Yeah, well, 9 to 5. Yeah, but when I go onto the islands, it's like, the lion come out of me.
Real thing. And I have totally had this experience just recently, because Carnival just passed in St. Thomas. So I have a good friend, man. Like, you know, like Miami, dude is in the club, and dude is cool and normal, totally 9 to 5, totally normal, dude. He go back home and is like, he's speaking a different language. He only riding bikes. He ain't like taking 2-3 showers a day. He ain't even really sheltering. He just out there, like, and is like, whoa. And at first, when I was younger, it was kind of weird to, like, but as an older person who get to overstand certain things in life, it's a trip. And it's weird to meet you, because I was asking the Most High, I was like, man, you know, I met a lot of people in life, man. Why just him? And now you telling me this, man, I'll give you a big truck hand for that one. For real. Because I respect one, man.
Absolutely.
Because a person like you, it would be hard for you, very difficult, if not impossible, for you to believe the normal notions of religion. Is that fair to say?
Can't. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, ironically. So I have a strong foundation in that particular situation. But it was something from when I was young that just didn't agree with me. Like, I heard the song from Musical Youth, Pastor Dutchie, and they were talking about the spirit of Jah. And I'm like a Jehovah's Witness. I'm like talking to my mom. I'm like, is this Jah that they talking about the same one? And she's like, oh, no. They're telling me it's different. So from young, I was questioning. And then when I was like doing these prayers, I'm like, I'm saying a prayer, but I'm only hearing my voice. And that's like, I'm the only one. I'm talking to myself. So prayer didn't have the same magic to me. And so when I went amongst the gods, particularly to Hawk Alim, and they would tell me something like prayer, you could be prayer as in P-R-A-Y-E-R, you could be the prayer as in P-R-E-Y-E-R, and you pray upon those. So it depends on how you look at the prey. You could be docile with it, or you could be a predator with it. The raptor, the kobo, the hawk, the John Crow, all of those. I'm working my way up to eagle. I started off as a kobo. I'm now to the hawk. I'm working for the eagle.
I did the
eagle, only see the spiral. Looking for the eagle, only see the spiral. Looking for the eagle, only see the spiral.
Add the danger. Okay?
Yes,
yeah.
Sir.
You can add the danger to that, because if you put it on a paper, it's spelled D-A-N-G-E-R, and your mind tell you problem, trouble, danger. But man speak in with an accent, so they say danger. So you say you can add that one to your notion. And I like the construct, because for me, it was the ideology of going from not even the ideology, because that word has gotten tainted, is is more of a portrayal of a caterpillar or a butterfly. You know what I'm saying? Like
a caterpillar or a butterfly. Some people get stuck as a pupae. They never move from the larvae to the imago. They stay in a pupae in a comatose cocoon. And you know, there's only one insect that moves in a cocoon state. And you know what that is? The bloodsucker, the mosquito. The mosquito was the only one that moves in a catatonic state. So when they talk about, you know, the vampires and everything, the living dead, the only insect that moves in a cocoon state is the mosquito, the bloodsucker. How that for vampires?
That's one of the only animals I don't really like. Franchise always talking about, yo, be one with everything. Me and mosquito can't be one, you know.
Why the mosquitoes buzzing people's ears was a story that was plagiarized by a white woman, but it had a lot of impact on me when I was growing up. Because basically the mosquito was telling lies. And so they took away the mosquito voice, and now it can only buzz in your ear because they cannot tell any lies anymore.
So the mosquito were like the serpent from the Garden of Eden?
In one of the so-called West African storytellers, because this you know how the white man goes and they collect and they curate stories and then they make big money by publishing the stories that we've been telling for free all of our lives. They put it in a book and make money.
But I mean, that's a good segue into this next segment.
Lead the devil's advocate interject.
What's going on with Chloe? Is Chloe being brought in or what?
Wait, hold on. Let's get the devil's advocate first before I address that.
Because when, man, franchise, you totally blow my go.
Okay, my thing was, I tried to get Chloe in, but apparently I don't think she's ready. But since she's not, and we're almost at the end of this broadcast, anyways, I'm going to have Danger interject his code break that we was talking before we went on air, involving the myth of the Ottomans, the human Ottomans. And I guess since Nit is of Haitian, she could break it down. So go Dave.
I like how the man just called my name.
Well, if we
tell you so.
I was just going to say this brother here say of Haitian origin. I did hear the sac passé something.
Yes, I.
Bouger.
Yes, I. From him from Benin via the island of Hispaniola.
Okay. Well, my thing is this. We were talking about the notion of melanin. And first things first is something that most people take for granted. But if you look into all these reasons why certain cultures who of little or no melanin, is safe to say, tend to look at it outside of this Western world, other places of the world, people look and they say, "Oh my gosh, your skin, it's so beautiful." Like, and living on this side of the world is like, "Hey, what's really going on?"
Y'all kicked me out. Oh,
hello. Yes,
we got Chloe in the house.
Hello, slow.
Oh gosh, silence that ZTE phone, please. And that's a ZTE ringing. Silence that. But what he was alluding to was the fact of they say there was stories and pictures of young black kids either flat on their belly or like on fours in front of, say, in front of, like, the slave master is sitting down in a chair and he have the young black being used as a footstool.
Yes.
Right? So and it's the same kind of thing what I've been doing, where I tell you, like, the devil's advocate side of it. It's weird because most people look at that and say, "Oh, look how they got their foot and the youth and ray. But it was brought to my attention just recently that they see the melanin as something medicinal. So because they had gout on their foot,
they use the kids to draw out the gout. Wow.
Ja Rastafari. Whoa, hey, whoa. You hear me no killer cat? Cause some boy no recognize say you're the biggest blood clot selector around here, you know. Yeah, I listen to say danger D, I'm a bridging for life, no watch nothing. Whoa, I triple spin sound free and the world is yours and take control of your life, of course. Can't be held down by no evil force. Who the most I bless, no wizard can curse. Knowledge is the key, then the world is yours and take control of your life, of course. Can't be held down by no evil force. Who the most I bless, no man curse. Triple spin with all that Jah created. Why can't we just live as one? There's food and clothes and shelter for triple spin to spread to everyone. With loyalty and humbleness, you shall inherit the earth. Know your purpose in creation. Triple spin, know what life hurt and black people free. And the world is yours and they control. Life, of course, can't be held down by no evil force. Who the most I bless, no wizard can curse. Knowledge is the key, then the world and take control of your life, of course. Can't be held down by no evil force. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, false rulers of the earth at war for power and domain. And the cost of living gets so high, the poor and needy can't sustain. With righteousness exalt and harmony flow through every heart. With the love and the blessings flowing through triple spin sound. Can't depart, black people be free cause the world